Welcome to another perSPECtive, where we talk to interesting people about interesting board games. I'm your host, Ryan Laris, and I got my other co-hosts, Max Simmons and Keegan Cole.
Hello.
And today's special guest is Mike Chan of Meeple Mike. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So this week's topic is going to be all about online gaming. You look like you had something.
I don't know a lot about online gaming.
That's right. You haven't played a lot. It's mostly been Keegan and I that have been playing. But I think Mike will have to teach us a thing or two, as it seems like you know a lot about it.
I've just been online gaming a lot during this time. Pretty much like 95% of what I play is online.
Okay.
And then once in a while, I'll maybe pull a game off my shelf if my mom will be able to sit down for an hour and do something, but it's not likely. I'm very lonely.
Sorry.
We'll play games with you whenever you want. Just let us know.
Are you able to have some closer friends be able to come and play games during this, or is it?
No, I mean, I think like it's kind of safe maybe to have a small circle, but I don't want to risk anything. I still go out. I go out and work, right, which is already a risk in and of itself. But yeah, I haven't really seen any of my gaming group for more than a year.
Yeah, well, that's rough. That's for us. It's been like the three of us that we've been able to just do our thing, but we haven't been able to see our bigger gaming group. But now that the two of them are already vaccinated, and then my last one will be in the beginning of May, we can start getting people back together. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully you guys can get vaccinated and start doing it again, because yeah, I know, like, as fun as online gaming is, I think I prefer the in-person gaming more. I mean, it's why I kind of got into gaming, right? And it's getting to play with everyone.
Yeah, for sure. There's like a long list of pros and cons, but the pros for actually getting a game together physically is so much longer.
Yeah,
true,
for sure.
Yeah. So tell us, when did you start getting into modern board gaming?
So I was a senior in high school, so this was like 2014, I think.
Okay.
I don't really know exactly what kind of event led me to get into it, but I think at that time I was just randomly watching Will Wheaton's Tabletop.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is, I know a lot of people know, and also there's these gamer YouTube channel, Game Grumps. They had like a table flip for a while.
Oh man,
kind of cool.
You and me have a similar origin story then.
But yeah, a lot of the stuff they played seemed pretty interesting. So my very first purchase, I bought 7 games.
Dang, okay.
And I don't even know. Like I think back on it, I'm like, wow, I really thought, like, what if I didn't like them, right? I was like, I'm gonna be committed to this hobby. So yeah, I bought Catan, Smash Up, King of Tokyo, The Resistance. Those are all like very classic starter set of games, right? And thankfully, all that money didn't go to waste. Here I am, like 7 years later. I'm spent a lot more money, but have a lot more games.
What is your collection up to now?
I think I have maybe like 120 games.
Yeah,
it's a very solid collection. Oh yeah,
That's more than me.
I don't want to say how much I'm gonna be up to by the end of the year, but okay. And so you said you can drag your mom into it. What kind of games will she play with you when you can get her to the table?
Yeah, so I only really started gaming with her during this lockdown. Just to spend some time together, but it's hard because she English isn't her first language.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of anything with like cards or text that's like hidden away, or if you have a hand of cards you have to figure out, that's pretty much out of the like that's off the table. But like really simple stuff, like we've played Azul, we've played Arboretum, stuff with like a small little overhead, and then you can jump right into it, like Gauchon Clever.
Yeah. I was wondering I was trying to figure out what would be some good language independent games. I guess those, none of those have any text in them, or those would all be...
Had she been playing games at all before that? Like, was she, or did you kind of just like introduce her to hobby as a way to be able to keep playing during the
she's
past
not
year?
really much of a gamer, but you know, if we're home a lot of the time and there's nothing to do other than sit around and watch TV or something, then she'll indulge in a little something different, right? So she's open to that.
Awesome.
That's
which
nice.
is really nice.
Yeah. Has she ever like sat, like if you're on the couch or something, has she ever suggested, hey, let's play a game instead of doing this? Or do you have to kind of like, come on, Mom, I need to play?
So she's actually kind of down. Like most weekends we'll get like one game of something in, or she'll be like, oh, I thought we were going to play this today. And even sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to. Like I want to watch a movie, but because it's so rare, like that, I play it anyway, and it's an enjoyable time.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I've been able to get my parents to kind of play a bit of board games, more of like the social party type ones. They really like Just One a lot.
Everyone loves Just One.
We also did a bit of like code names they were liking, but it's been interesting to try. Like they weren't gamers.
Oh yeah, my mom would play Scrabble, and that's just about it.
Yeah. So I mean that's pretty cool that you can get your mom started doing some of that stuff. When did you start doing the whole social media side of board games?
So I started my account, Meeple Mike, September of last year.
Okay.
So like deep in, like right in the middle of lockdown. And I had found, so the couple of months and maybe even like a year or two before, I had kind of hit a lull in board games.
Okay.
Because it was getting harder to play stuff. So I'm 24 years old. I graduated a couple of years ago. It's a lot easier to play stuff when everyone is, you know, in school and living in the same area, and all I have to do is bring a game over to my friend's place, like 5 minutes down the road. But once everyone is kind of has their own schedule now, everyone's working at different places, it's hard to get stuff played. So I didn't really buy any new games or really get many of the old ones played much, other than Gloomhaven and stuff like that. I had a group for that we'd meet up.
Only game that matters.
Don't even get me started. We're not even done the base game yet, and Frosthaven's coming soon, and we have Forgotten Circles. It's, I don't know.
Catch up.
I'm worried. But yeah, I got I don't know how I got like a second burst of excitement in the hobby, which was really sad, because I got a burst of excitement, but I had no one to play with. So I just started buying games again, and they weren't getting played, but I was like just opening them and reading the rule books and being like, oh, when I do get to play this is going to be great. And there's about like 20 of them on my shelf that are like, I can't wait. But
I mean, that's been back.
I feel like that was the board gamer curse of lockdown. Everyone's like, I can't play games, so I'm just gonna buy all of them.
Exactly.
Like, there was. I already had the problem before COVID of buying games.
You still have the problem.
Okay, you didn't let me finish. I had a problem. So like, the frequency of me buying games didn't change, but the amount that I was able to play went down significantly.
Yeah.
So it's just racking up so many. So I'm just really excited to actually get people back over so that we can we can play them. Today I was going through my board game geek list, like of all my games, and putting in like all the ones that I wanted to play, and got that list of all the ones that I have that I know are in shrink still. I'm just like, okay, here's the list. Fuck, 80 games.
Is it that many?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That sounds like you need to do a cull.
Sounds like we just need to play them quicker.
I agree with the playing, not with the culling. But
Do you trade or sell your games at all, or do you just keep everything?
I have traded a total of 2 games from my collection ever since, and it was
Wow.
and I want them back.
What 2 were they?
So I traded Flashpoint, Fire Rescue, and Deception Murder in Hong Kong for someone's Terra Mystica.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's why I did it. And then now I'm like, now whenever I'm going through my Facebook page and someone has like Deception or Flashpoint, I'm like, I feel like my collection's missing something, and it's do I need it? Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's a little bit of a problem, but it's all right.
I think out of our group, I probably did the biggest culling, because according to my Board Game Geek, I have 174 items that I've previously owned.
Holy crap!
Oh wow!
I think once you like start to cull it, it probably gets easier, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess like with you, Keegan, it comes down to like when you're such limited on space in wherever you live, I think it just tends to be easier.
Mine's
like, you too.
Yeah, mine's a necessity of monetary space, but also like my wife will be like, I mean, like we make the decision, but she's like, okay, maybe you should play some of these games or sell some of these games before you buy 5 new ones. So that's more of my thing. It's like if I'm gonna get 5 new games, I probably need to get rid of some to sort of supplement that money, and then the cost, and then also the space. So it's space and just money, but also like I like have fairly picky friends, so not just you two, but like I have games that are like for newcomers to the hobby, and it's in party games, and then social deduction games, and then but you know, if a new one comes out, I might buy it and trade the other one off and try it and then trade. I'm always trading. Trading's constant.
Mine was 3. I have 3 that I've traded off total.
You've only traded 3
games, yes. And I just looked. 109 want to play games. But that 109 there is 38 of them that are pre-orders.
Ryan, you need to go to counseling.
We need an intervention, I think.
I think at this point it is an intervention thing.
Leave him alone, he's fine.
I'm fine. Yeah. Wait. So okay, wait. On Tuesdays, guys, we need to start playing my games. I'm just like, yeah, we don't really have anything planned. Let's just play one of your guys' games. What do you got? Yeah. No, I gotta play some of mine. Get out of here.
Well, the thing is, like with my group, I'm the guy who has like 95% of the games, and I'm the person who is like, you know, I invite people and try to get people in the hobby. So I try to have like a huge selection, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's if you're one of the only ones with the collection. I'm sure like culling could be a little different, as you might want to show games to someone new.
Well, I try and not get too much crossover with you or Keegan. Every once in a while, there's a game that I really, really love, and I'm like, okay, I have to own it. But the problem is I'll get a game, and then Ryan will like it, and then he'll buy it, and then I'm like, well, why do I have it then? Like, we go and play at Ryan's house anyways, so then I just sell it and get a different one, and then he likes it and buys it, and then I sell that one.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yes.
Yeah. Keegan and I have quite a bit of overlap.
Yeah, you guys
There's just so many games that both him and I love that I'm just like, I know I could just go and play with him, but I want it in my collection.
80% of those are ones that I bring over to show you, and then you buy it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm the instigator in this. I'm the drug lord.
So. Very much so. I want to circle back to your Instagram
my
account.
Yeah. How do we start talking about all this?
We go down tangents.
Welcome to our
podcast.
Yeah.
Tangents on tangents.
Should just be specular tangent.
Specular tangents. What have you found the most rewarding from it? so far?
A lot of it is like meeting people. I've talked to like upwards of like 40, 50 accounts, and we just have like chats and messages and comments, and it's just such a supportive community. I also get to live vicariously through everyone's posts and stories. Like, look at what they're playing. That looks fun. but yeah, it's just a great way to like meet people that are in the hobby, especially when we're so isolated now.
Yeah.
And you can have like conversations where you don't really have to explain yourself. Like, if I want to talk about board games, I can just talk about board games, and I know I know people will know what I'm talking about, right? I don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of people outside. Like, I have a very particular group for board game, which is most of my group, but then I have like family and other people that I know that I can talk about something. Like, they'll ask me, and I'm like, just the board game thing, I guess I'm doing, and they're just like, oh yeah, what are you playing? And I'm like,
where do I start? Like,
yeah, I'm like,
you have to
just some game. I have a bunch of them we play on Tuesdays. Like, I can name off them, but you're really gonna have no idea what I'm talking about. Like, I'd be like, Yokohama, Root, Everdell. Have you heard of them? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like,
there's
I know. I'm sorry.
There's an elderly gentleman at there's a coffee shop really right around the block from mine and my wife's apartment, and that has become like our go-to. Before quarantine happened, that was like Ryan and I would go there pretty much like once or twice a week just to sit at a table and play a game and have a coffee. And there's an older gentleman there who Mark and I played a game at the coffee shop 2 weeks ago, and he showed up again. And he constantly, if he sees a board game out on the table, he'll come over and go, hey, fellas, I got an idea for a game. And we're like, okay, what's that? And he's like, now hear me out. People don't like playing Monopoly. So my idea for the game is you take 2 Monopoly boards and you cross the go sections over so it's a big diamond. Because the problem with Monopoly is nobody wants to trade properties. And I looked at him, I was like, that's not the problem with Monopoly, dude. And he goes, well, what do you mean? I was like, that no one wants to play Monopoly anymore. That's not the market you want. But he's like, yeah, but Hasbro will buy my ideas. Like, no, they won't, dude. Stop. Just stop.
He just wants to talk about it with someone.
Yeah, he's very, very nice. But trying to tell him like the hobby has changed so much, or like talking to people that don't know what board game hobbies is, that's the first thing they think of is like the classic games they played as kids, or just like the quote unquote games that aren't really games anymore.
Or if they know slightly more, they're like, I love Catan and I love Pandemic. I'm like,
You're that's a step closer.
I'm like, I'd like, that's wonderful. I'm glad you do. But you're not in the hobby, so I still don't know how to talk to you about it.
You're on the surface.
Yeah,
I'm like,
take my hand wonderful.
And I'll. I'm like, I don't know that.
Guide you through the wilderness.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know that like you're gonna be interested in the hobby or not, because they're still so surface level, and it's just like something fun you're doing with some friends that they just bust out the Pandemic one night or Catan, and you're just like, but do I don't know if I just start rambling on here about games if.
Yeah, if I ask you what your favorite worker placement is this going to get weird or not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which have you been able to so you've been talking to a bunch of people. Have you been able to game with them online then?
Some people. Right now my online gaming is still kind of limited to my friends. I know there's opportunities. I know I think Keegan and I met through a Blood on the Clock Tower game.
Yep.
Okay. That was,
Wait, have we played Blood on the Clock Tower together?
I think you might have been
Gabby.
there too. Yeah.
I'm usually on as Gabby.
I think the night that you and I met, Michael, that was the night I was Twitch streaming it. I think it was. I don't think you were there for that night, Ryan. But yeah, that was.
Okay.
I have played with Ryan as well, though, I think.
Yeah.
Was that with Carly?
Yeah, that's with
I
Carly.
still haven't gotten to do that yet.
The game is so much fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of her friends, but also she invites a lot of different Instagram accounts, Instagram people, and it's just a great way to meet people. That's
Yeah. Hopefully she's doing okay. I know there was some she's been going through a lot of stuff, so how were you able to get your friends into online gaming? How I guess it's pretty simple as, hey, let's go play online, but how were they receptive to it, I guess?
So it's actually a funny story. I don't really play with my actual gaming group or people that I used to play. A lot of the people I play with are new to the hobby. So I kind of, I don't want to say drag them in, but I introduced them to this world of board games. And I guess they, I don't want to speak for them, but I don't know. I guess they don't know what they're missing because they started the hobby online and they're just like, oh, these games are so cool. These games are really fun. But they've never played like the physical copy, which is, and like hung out in like a social setting like that, which is, you know, I'm dying to do with them once this all ends. But I think they're more receptive to the idea of online gaming if they haven't gamed in person before, because there's really a lot missing, and I know a lot of people who are really into board games who won't even touch online gaming because it's just missing that crucial something. Like you really have to be married to this hobby and be committed to get through like online stuff.
I feel like the gamers who I would say, well, I guess we can use kind of Carly as an example, is probably one that loves the online gaming more than, say, myself, who is a very big kind of like, okay, so what we've been doing the last month was like this board game upgrade challenge. Yeah. So it was all about just all the upgrades and things that you can do to the actual physical copy, right? That you can clearly see people that really like that style, like the actual physical stuff and upgrading and adding things to the game, versus someone like Carly. I know she's just a little less. She doesn't have as many. She's not as much about upgrades. Might be a lot more interested in the online version as opposed to myself, that I just kind of do it so I can keep playing. But it's really the physical side that I like.
I've seen her like paint minis and stuff.
Yeah.
All that. So.
Oh yeah. But I it's kind of, I wondered, like, the type of people that are a bit more receptive towards online and those who might be.
I'm not sure if it has anything to do with people that are more into like component upgrading or not. I don't think there's that much of a correlation. I really think it's just the personality of the people. Like for me, like I'm not a huge component upgrade person like you are on your level. I'm only going to upgrade games that I love. Like if I'm not going to try to upgrade every game I have, even if I remotely like it. But if I have like, there's like 5 games I would like totally bling out if I could, and everything else can kind of just be as it is.
Yeah.
But even then, like I'm cool with online gaming, but even like I like doing it. I like playing games that, like, I think I like online gaming the most to play games that I don't have access to, or games that I want to try out. Like when we played Darwin's Journey when the Kickstarter was live and we tested that out, and I was like, I'm glad I didn't back this because I really didn't like this game, and you really did like it. So I think having access for something like that, I think, is the biggest draw for me. And I know there's, like what Mike was saying, there's definitely people out there that are very much like, well, if I'm going to play a game virtually, I'd rather just play a video game.
Yeah, and that's something I struggle with myself too. Like sometimes even, so all my anecdotes are going to come from the same group of people. So if they're listening, I'm sorry, but sometimes I'll be asked to play something, and like I'm so grateful that they want to play board games and everything, because I'm like the board game guy, and you know they're into board games now, but I'm not feeling it that night. Because it can be a slog. Like you got to be in the right mindset for it, right?
Right, absolutely.
I'd rather just like boot up a video game or something and get that same enjoyment with like so much less work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, I find a video game a bit. I would rather play, if I'm going to be playing online, I'd rather play a video game. I guess it's more if I'm on the computer and stuff doing the gaming, it's a bit more fast paced, and I can almost like pull myself away, and I don't need the social aspect of what. I mean, at least for me, it's the I love so much of board games is the social aspect behind it. So, as much as you can have social aspect, right? You all can jump on Discord or whatever, right? It doesn't feel the same. How do you feel?
I mean, for me, like, I probably do the least amount. Part of it is, for me, the biggest hurdle for online gaming is just like this, like, I don't have like an easy, like, you just come sit down here and get on your computer and do it. I have to like, I have like one computer in my room basically that I share with my wife. So like it's tricky trying to find the time to do it or the setup to do it a lot of the time. A lot of time I'll do it on my phone. I played a lot of phone games. I played like Teotihuacan a lot on my phone for a while. But it also, it really depends on like, am I going to be playing a game online with friends or am I going to be playing a game online with strangers? That's a big thing for me of like, I would much rather play with friends. Like when we played Kanban, that was a lot of fun.
Yep.
But I wouldn't want to play that game 4-player with strangers for 4.5 hours. Because I don't know
that
what
YouTube
like,
video was like 6 hours long.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no. Well, we went through like a full teach of it, and like, yeah.
I can't believe, and that's like our most watched video.
I know, it's one of
so
our most
bizarre.
watched
like,
videos.
I was like, who sat through 5 minutes of that even? It's
People
really
like
weird.
long plays.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, we need to do another one, I guess. But
I
like,
guess,
for me,
yeah.
it's like I like that was fun to do, but like, or I've played like Through the Ages a lot on my phone recently, or like Castles of Burgundy. But a lot of time that's just against the AI. That's I haven't done a lot of like with players. Although I have been playing Hearthstone more, Keegan. I don't know if
do
that
it. It's a
counts.
trap. It's a trap.
But that's against players. But it can be like you just don't know what kind of faux pas you're gonna do, or like. Especially on certain things like Tabletop Simulator, you hit the wrong button, you can flip the whole table or something. You know, I don't know. Like, so that's usually my big hurdles to like. I'm like, do I want to do all that or do I want to read a book? Like, I would rather most of the time just read a book than do all that or do the actual in-game playing. But with like friends, if we have a set time, hey, 8:00 tonight, everybody, we're gonna play. You know, Root or something, because I know they have a pretty good, or you know, whatever. It depends on what game you want to play on, which system it's on. Does everybody have that system? Is Discord up? And like, it's just like 50 hoops to jump through. That if I didn't have Keegan and Ryan, I probably would be jumping through them because I'd be desperate to be playing games. But since I have that fix sort of through them, I'm not as hungry for it, I guess, or not needing it as much. But
Max,
yeah, it's tricky.
You brought it up. Mike, do you have a favorite platform you've been playing virtually on?
I was gonna ask that.
favorite and only, pretty much, Tabletop Simulator.
Okay.
I don't have anything against any of the other. I know there's Tabletop Simulator, you got Tabletopia, pretty much the same thing, really. And then Board Game Arena. I can't vibe with Board Game Arena. I don't. It's like, it's a board game in video game form. Like everything's just done for you. Everything looks different.
Yeah.
Like Tabletop Simulator, yes, it's janky, but the board looks like the board. The pieces look like the pieces. I can like move them around.
Yeah.
See, certain things like Teotihuacan, I like playing on Board Game Arena because moving every piece around in that game, or even like a game like Through the Ages, having everything automated by a click of a button, like trying to move like 7 resource tokens back and like that's a nightmare to me. Like, it's not perfectly aligned, and I'm OCD, so the cards have to be like Kanban was a nightmare. Like my OCD constantly, like I just had to just be like, just gonna ignore it.
I think a lot of it, like a lot of the good games I play on Tabletop Simulator are scripted as well. So it'll like set the game up. You click a button that says 3 players. It'll set everything up for 3 players.
That's nice.
And then, so like one of the upsides for sure is like setup and tear down.
For sure.
But I mean, even now I miss setting a game up and like putting it back in the box at the end. Like that's how much I miss physical gaming is like all.
Yeah.
I miss digging through like the 40 Gloomhaven tiles looking for like A1 or whatever.
Yeah, setup and teardown is always a really big discussion on podcasts and stuff I listen to. And people are like, oh, well, the setup and the teardown's 45 minutes. Like, that's never, like, that's almost a part of it to me. Like, like the organizing it. Like, I guess if I had an agenda, like, we're going to get these 4 games played today, then the setup and teardown can be a bit of a, like, annoyance because, like, you're trying to work through something. Like, if we had, like when we were doing our Feld month and we had to get through a certain amount of games in the week. But like most of the time that's like getting the box out, helping it set up and shuffling, like all that is like enjoyable to me.
It's part of the social experience, right? It's
it's how you start bonding with the game before you even start playing it.
I guess
that sounds so weird, but yeah.
It's true though.
I mean, yeah, it's true. It's like we all hate it,
sounds
but
like board game.
we're also like
play.
we love it because it's part of like it's just like for us who started as physical board gamers, like that's just part of it, and it's just like, yeah, this sucks. We have to like there's so much to set up, but we love this so much.
Yeah.
And it makes me kind of question then, like, as online, like I'm guessing over the whole year now, as online gaming kind of gets bigger and you can like start, more people might be introduced to board games in that sense through online gaming. How is it going to change their perspective then towards physical games, right? And certain games that might take, I'm speaking more towards games that take a lot of setup, and I wonder how that reception starts going and whether people want to actually start buying those shit ton of pieces and setup ones for people who did start out in online gaming where everything was just set up and you could just start going. What are their opinions going to be? I mean, not that we can answer that, but just a thought that is starting to pop in my head now. Like, does that change how?
Yeah, I think it depends on like what they're looking for out of the game and why they enjoy it. So like when I think of a game, like I'm just gonna name like some of the things we've been playing, like Spirit Island, Root, stuff like that. There's 3 ways to play. There's the physical game. You can play it on Tabletop Simulator, or you could play the digital version of the game, because like Terraforming Mars, Root, Scythe, like all of those have actual digital implementations, which is pretty much one step further into like the video game world.
Yep.
Right. And it's all right. Like I tried Terraforming Mars digital. It's, you know, I'm just pressing buttons. With Tabletop Simulator, I'm like looking at a hand of cards, and that's like, it's really no different, but that's more of board gamey to me. And then in the physical game, actually holding your hand of cards and like putting your tiles down, that's the most board game to me. But I guess it really depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think it depends on the personality type. I mean, I think the type of person who, like me, who likes to research the game and then organize it, open it all up, or organize it all, and then set it all up and have it ready for people. Like, I think if somebody's like that already, it's not gonna be a big stretch. Or if somebody has you know, I think there's a lot. I think in most friend groups, it's probably the most addicted person who goes and does all that. And some people, they do it just so they can play the game, and some people like that actual experience of doing all that. And I mean, I don't know that it changed that much, but I'm excited for your friends, like, to be able to transition from mostly playing online to then being able to play like the online Tabletop Simulator game of like Wingspan versus actually playing Wingspan, like the physical.
Touch those eggs.
Yeah, exactly. Or even Azul, like playing a video game Azul and then actually holding those little starburst like things, or Everdell, the squishy berries. Like,
I mean, I think that's just the thing that, like, as humans, we like things that are like, we're tactile creatures. We want to touch things and feel things. So like, I think even a person that started in tabletop games virtually, I feel like their first time playing like one of their favorite virtual games physically, their minds are going to be blown. Because they can actually like finally touch and hold the pieces, especially if you're a virtual gamer who's gotten into the heavier side of gaming. Like, the first time you're going to get Teotihuacan out physically and you can feel like the chunky pyramid tiles and move the dice around the board and grab all the pieces, I feel like that's just going to be a weird awakening for them in a good way.
And some people, but I also think there's going to be those people that do like it where, oh, this all stuff was already set up for me and I can just get playing.
I think it depends on the game. Like having played Russian Railroads with you guys on, was it Board Game Arena?
Yeah.
Where it automates everything is so easy
It is,
compared to actually like I almost was like, I don't know if I want to play Russian Railroad. Like, but there's certain games
that,
where I feel
that's
that
what
way.
I'm talking about, right? Like where people that
I would do
one like they were introduced to board games through online rather than the way we did. So like it's going to be hard for us to talk from their perspective, right? Because we were introduced to it from physical, but those who were introduced to it based on online might start getting a very different perspective on how they want board gaming to be, right? And so as maybe a couple of years go on now and online gaming becomes bigger, what does that do then for manufacturers who go, there's a lot of people who don't want to buy these games because there's so much setup, because they're just so used to a game that they're just like, we just don't want to do all that. We're not going to worry about this game that, like Teotihuacan or games that have a lot of setup. Are they going to cater to the people that maybe they don't put as many components in?
I think it's like two separate things. So like us board gamers who are already used to the physical side of things, I don't like, we're gonna get our online friends to play stuff at the table for sure, right? If let's say my friends who started online were to play something on their own, I can't speak for them if they would rather get the physical game than just find another online implementation. But if I'm there like playing with them, I'm definitely going to be pulling for that physical, right? But also on like the designer part of things, I think, because like designing a physical board game and then getting like a digital implementation, that's like two separate, like they're not the same people doing that. Right? You have like it's like the video game side of things pretty much, where you're changing it up for the digital versions. So I don't think there's going to be much change. I think there might even be like a boon when this thing ends. There's going to be like even a more greater emphasis on the physical. Maybe there's like going to be more like dexterity stuff coming out because just people are itching to get physical with the games.
I mean, if anything, Kickstarter proves that, with all the bigger games hitting Kickstarter all the time are constantly back our game with 5,000 minis in it, like, and people back the shit out of it. And it's like, I don't think components issues is going to be a thing, a problem.
That's all people who have already been introduced, like are already in the hobby and like that stuff. I'm thinking of people that, as years goes on now, are their first like introduction into board games is online and not the physical copy. So their perception of board games becomes based on that rather than ours, which was the physical copy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, I don't think that a lot of people are making... I mean, there's probably some crossover, but I think the majority of the digital versions of board games are for people... I'm sure the majority of the market is for people who are already into the hobby and want to play that on their phone while they're waiting at the dentist or something like that. I mean, that's what I do with them. I mean, that's if I'm sitting, I have to go to so many doctor's appointments with everything, like, or I'm sitting waiting to pick up people from doctor's appointments. And that's why I just pull up, play a game for 20 minutes on my phone. Like I mean, that's what I'm using it for.
More non-board gamers are going to start doing that. Like it's
I don't think it's like going to be that big of a
board gaming going away. It's probably going to get bigger.
I don't think it's going to be an issue of people are going to be playing board games first online and they're only going to play online. I feel like that's going to be a situation of the people that are going to be more of the casual side of gaming. They'll stay with the online stuff because it's like, I like doing this, but like the online's easier to get to. But the people that fall in love with board gaming, even if it's through digital, they're going to just immediately be like, oh, I want this now in physical form because I want to see what this is like physically. I don't think there's going to be a problem with like board games dying out to digital implementation because there's too many new people staying with virtual.
Yeah, I think also oh, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Sorry, I was just gonna say there's not gonna be a lot of people who will be like, yeah, I'm into board games, it's my hobby, but only the digital side.
Yeah. Like, no, yeah. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm just thinking more of the side of like, because we're gonna start seeing more and more people who got introduced to the hobby through online, that maybe and producers might start thinking that they need to start catering and thinking maybe little less components so that we can get more those certain people, right? So that you can get just a larger consumer base, right?
Maybe, but I doubt the people designing the games are feeling that way. Also, I think we're missing the main component of pretty much everybody we've ever asked this question of why do you play board games? It's the social aspect. So I think like the social aspect is such a big draw to board games, and it's such a great way for people to. But like the personal, so like I mean, yes, there is some online, but like to be one-on-one across a table from somebody is such a big part of the hobby, and it's such a great way for people who have social anxieties to be able to kind of be with people but not focus on that and be with people. That I think that's still one of the main draws to the hobby. That it's not even gonna have an impact on online games.
I don't think people are gonna start catering to component things because that's what gateway game designers are for. Like there's people like Lacerda's not going to start catering, being like we should worry about, or like Eagle Griffin's not going to start worrying about component count because too many people were playing things digitally and they need to cater to them. That's not going to be a thing. I don't think they're going to.
Uwe's game just had 14 different resources in it. What was that? Holler Town was like insane.
Start doing that.
The catering
do start doing it.
I think the catering might be coming from like designers thinking maybe we should also develop or hire like a different company to develop a digital version because there might be more interest in it. I don't think it's going to affect the physical in any way, and in any scenario it's just going to be an outward expansion. Like there might be more digital opportunities, but yeah, it's not, I don't think the physical part of the games is going to like decrease or in any way.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe there's going to be just more games with a little bit easier setup.
But you make so much money on just adding more minis and stuff like that. I don't think that people are going to be like, oh, let's not do this for the digital. I mean, unless it's coming out with the digital implementation at the same time.
There's also just a million games that come out every year that are gateway less component games. Like I don't think there is an issue. I don't think it's going to be a thing to worry about.
Yeah, if setup is an issue for people, they'll find a game that has setup that works for them.
Yeah, there's enough games out there for that.
Do you have a favorite digital game that you play online?
So or right now,
a top three. You don't have to give us one because I know that's hard.
So actually, like I've been thinking, people always ask like what your top games are. And like a snapshot of my top games right now is very influenced by what I'm able to play online, obviously. So one of them is Gloomhaven, which me and my actual Gloomhaven group have been playing the digital Gloomhaven. I know there's a tabletop simulator mod that's also really good, but we shelled out for the actual game. It's still in early access. There's no campaign or anything. It's just kind of individual scenarios. You get to keep your character levels. You get to level up the same way, but it's just like random stories scattered around.
Okay.
So it's just the gameplay of the game without the campaign, which is enough for us right now. Like we still talk about we're about 80% done Gloomhaven. Forgotten Circles is still in shrink. Frosthaven's on the way. I'm freaking out. I don't know. It is a genuine concern. Like I don't know if my group will be as open to physical Gloomhaven again, or there might be things that turn them off of it because setup for that game is pretty rough. There's a lot of upkeep. Like you got to do all the monsters and stuff. And in the digital one, you press enter and then like it's like you watch the monsters walk around and hit whoever.
If you can make it, because we finished the main scenario in most of the Forgotten Circles. If you have one person kind of running the show and kind of dole out certain things, like I had somebody in our group who would deal with the magic when the magic was going up and down, and then I had somebody dealing with the effects counters, like give them a disarm, give them a poison, give them a this, and then I basically ran all the monsters, and I would have to show up 20 minutes early or 15 minutes early to set up, and then we'd all help tear down. So if you can do it that way, it keeps and you have a really it organized really well. It's incredible, but it takes kind of one person doing like 75% or all of it.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need like another rules overhead on like how things work, because we've been spoiled. We've been spoiled.
There's actually quizzes online of how do the monsters work that you can take, like how would this monster move here or attack A or B, and like there's actually online quizzes that you can take to teach you how the monsters work.
I've seen those. It's ridiculous.
They're awesome.
It's like the quizzes people have to take to be judges for like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments.
Or you could also get Jaws of the Lion is like the precursor. I know a lot of Jaws of the Lion. I know a lot of people have done that because they found Gloomhaven a little too intimidating, and that really kind of sets you up. And by the time you're done with that, you'll be able to do Gloomhaven easily.
Yeah, like I actually started a Jaws of the Lion campaign online on Tabletop Simulator right now. That's separate, like on it with a different group, and yeah, it's going good. So yeah, Gloomhaven, yeah, we've been playing for years, and we all got the digital version, so we can keep playing it. So it's definitely in my top. Another one is Spirit Island on Tabletop Simulator, not the digital version. There's like a fantastic app that, like, once again, we're spoiled. It sets everything up, puts everything where it's supposed to be. And this is a game that I introduced to two of my friends who have never played, who are like, we're into board games. And now I'm pretty sure they've played more than me. They like know all the ins and outs of every spirit. They like know the game better than I do. They're like, oh, what level do you want? What adversary? What scenario? I'm like, I'm just here to play, man.
Have you played with the new spirits?
Yes, but only online. I recently got all the expansions, and like I spent like a whole night, unboxing it and punching everything out. So I can't wait to. It's so cool. I love Spirit Island. It's
one of my favorite. It's in my top 10. I think.
Yeah.
We just did a top 10, didn't I say Spirit Island?
Yeah, you did.
I have to look now.
So I've been playing that as well.
So now, would they be? Are they people that were introduced to the hobby through online gaming? Or had they played before?
For the most part, yeah. Like I know they've played stuff like Catan, Splendor, stuff like that, and then I introduced them to board games, and we played like one physical game of Root. We've played like one. Like just one of it. Like when they came over to my house and looked at my collection, I'm like, here it is. Like, we want to play something, and of course they're like grabbing at things. But that's pretty much it. And then I haven't seen them since like the lockdown. I know they picked up Gloomhaven for themselves, so that's like a huge jump because, going from like Splendor and stuff, and they're like, they asked me like, what's a good like 2-player thing to play in lockdown, and I'm like, I want to say Gloomhaven, but I don't know, but it stuck for them, which is good.
That's good.
But everything else, I can't wait to like open up the physical Spirit Island with them because they're obsessed with that game, and they've only seen it online.
I was going to ask, are they now likely to buy the physical copy of Spirit Island, or are they likely to stick to just the online version?
That's a good question. I don't know if I might have to ask them. Like,
let us know.
I think because that's kind of what my argument was too. That like, sometimes people will stick to an online version because of how much it is.
Yeah,
and then we start seeing developers do a little bit for newer games. Yeah, you're still going to have some Lacerda ones designing really big ones, but you might just see a bigger influx of less setup type games.
Yeah, I think
It's just like that percentage of them. I think like if you start thinking like developers and developers, publishers, they're a business. They're going to want to think money. Where are they going to be able to sell the most games? And if we start seeing a shift from like these people may only stick to a online version of the game as opposed to now going out and buying the physical copy.
I think we understood your point. I just don't agree with it.
Okay.
That's it. Like I understood your point the entire time, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
I mean, understanding business, like but what businesses will do, like they'll focus towards money and where they can get the most people to buy. I could see it start happening.
I don't think it's going to be on the scale that you're worried about.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily worried about it. It's something that I could see start happening.
Well, hopefully.
Now, I'm not saying that games are going to be bad. There's not like, I'm just thinking like we just may see a lot, I guess the percentage of like a lot of setup versus not a lot of setup games might just change throughout. We might just see a lot more easier setup games coming out to the market.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. Timestamp this 10 years from now. We'll see. Maybe we're all wrong. Maybe there will be only one component games. But I mean, with the way that board gamers just love components and stuff, I mean, like even just so much. I mean, look at your collection. How many games have upgraded components? And I mean, like I don't think there's. I think that board gamers are pretty, as far as I know, they're pretty vocal. So if some Asmodee's like, we are no longer having components, you know what I mean? Everyone would be like, what? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, give me my, rocks and trees and my bird meeples. And I mean, everybody who has the name Meeple in their name would have to like disappear. I don't think it's going anywhere.
That's me. I can't be Meeple Mike
Oh,
anymore.
you gotta change that quick now. Just do it now before.
You have to be online Mike.
Oh no.
Online Meeple Mike.
I think like the way that we call ourselves board gamers and we actually call our games a collection, I think that just has a lot to say about what we think about, like what we think about physical games. Like, because not a lot of people are gonna be like, hey, look at all the mods I have on Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
look at my Steam library. Look at that.
This is my collection. We have to go to my computer
Let
to
me
see
do a
it.
30-minute video of all my unplayed Steam games. I'm sure actually somebody has done that. But
You have like installation videos.
The new, like, it's gonna be like, I'm
unwrapping.
trading this game. It's uninstalled. It's the new in shrink still. It's the uninstalled game, but I have it.
I want videos of people unwrapping their games from Target. Remember, you had to like tear the plastic off. And...
Kickstarter mail call days just because someone's showing them their email being like, hey, your game's in your Steam box now. Like, cool, thank you.
I'm actually going to go tomorrow and buy a physical video game, which I have not done in
What are you
probably
buying?
over a decade. Like,
What do you mean? You bought Nintendo Switch
yeah, but I just buy everything digital.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the physical game.
Yeah, I'm
What
going to go
game?
buy a physical game from the store
Wait,
tomorrow,
the Zelda one? You didn't actually buy a.
Oh, no, not Zelda. I'm going to buy the Pokemon game for my kid. But like,
But
I
the
haven't
Zelda
done
you
that.
have,
Since...
is it?
I
digital?
don't own Zelda. Somebody lent it to me.
Oh, okay.
But most games I buy is just everything is just download now. So like, but I want to have the physical copy.
Of what Pokemon? Which Pokemon?
Pokemon Snap. I think
Snap.
comes out
Oh, the new
tomorrow.
one.
Yeah,
The
that
new
comes
one,
out
right.
tomorrow.
We'll talk about
I have a
it tomorrow.
5-year-old and he's been asking to play it. So.
He knows about it.
Oh yeah, he's seen advertisements for it.
Oh, okay.
Man, like I don't like it wasn't even Facebook. He plays like.
I have a
Phone
28-year-old wife that's asking for it.
You gonna go get it tomorrow?
Yeah, she's gonna stream it tomorrow.
Oh, rad. Maybe I'll have Wolfie watch it. Tell her to keep it PG. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I
Tell Kat
won't.
to do whatever she wants.
Mike, I was also gonna ask you too with that virtual gaming. Have you tried? Because I did this once with Geek Chic, and I've been doing this weekly now with my friend back in Kansas for Arkham Horror, the card game. Have you tried doing a virtual game night, but actually having like the game set up, and so like both of you have the game set up on both ends?
I've thought about it. No one else owns games, man. And I have everything. I mean, I could set up like the whole webcam, and then it's like, oh, what do you want to do? and
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's a lot of work.
It is.
I don't know. It might be like one step too far from what I am willing to do just to play board games.
See,
Yeah.
I almost think that would be, I would like that more, I think, than an online implementation. I mean, certain games you can't do it with, like there's certain
Where
games.
cards that they can't really,
Right,
like things
yeah.
that are hidden.
Yeah, like I was watching, I think it was Grogan was doing Praga Caput Regni, and he had the board set up in a camera, and he had a guy just telling him, like, get me that tile, do that thing, take this token, I want that action, spend my 3 stone, and he was doing the whole person's turn. I was like, that's a lot for that game. Like, I mean, I could see somebody doing like Azul.
I would
being
hate that.
being like, take the red tiles, put this one in this. But like, you could do that pretty easily with some games. But like, heavy 2-hour like Euro games, I was shocked.
That would be the
actually
worst.
an
That's
interesting
like
video too.
That's like work. Like you're asking me
Yeah.
to just move things around. That's what that night is gonna be. I like so for me, like a lot of like why I play board games is the social aspect of it. And so doing that removes it. It's like you're just telling me how to play, how you want to play the game, and then I'll play my turn. Like what I miss is just like the banter and the messing around with my friends while we're playing a game. Like the game is nice and all, like we get into it, strategy is good, we get like talking about that, but it really doesn't matter what we're playing really, as long as we're playing it together. And like digital playing online kind of removes that a little bit, because sure you're talking on Discord and stuff, but there's always like technical difficulties that you have to worry about, or like someone's thinking and there's like dead air, but you don't want to like talk over them to talk to another friend or something like that. Like it's very much more game focused, and a lot of people aren't willing to be like 100% game focused when gaming, you know, like
I think you hit the nail on the head with that. Like, I think that's a really good like summation of
because it's not only
gaming
just
online.
like chatting with each other, but right, you got like snacks at the table. You got like the person's actually in front of you. You can chat with them while someone like looking them in the face.
Yeah.
And
the human element, I guess.
Yeah.
To the
one thing
you can like go ahead.
No, you can keep going. I was gonna say something else.
I was just saying, like, even like you can be like talking and pointing to things on the table, right, and chatting with, even if like someone's trying to do their turn, but you're talking with someone else. You can chat, but there's not like that actual physical, like, oh, you see that here, I'm pointing to something and we're talking about it, or
I can't tickle Ryan if he takes all the points
right.
from me.
We can't fuck off. Stop it. Okay. Yeah,
So,
we
like,
can't tickle each other. We can't.
So doing a teach online is one of the worst experiences ever. I've taught games, my friends taught me games online, and it's just like you're doing a teach, it's silent always. You can't really see what they're like. Do you get it? Like, can I move on? Like, you look at this part of the board, but you're like pinging it. You're like drawing arrows on the board, and it's just so much work.
Yeah.
Which is why like I haven't really learned a new game in a long time online. Like I tried learning Brass Birmingham. I booted up the mod and I was like, I can't do this, man. Like I'm just looking at it. I'm sure it looks beautiful online, but on my computer it just looks like a black board with just like I couldn't. Maybe like especially not after work.
Spirit Island's not the easiest teach, particularly. Like there's a lot of anything with that has like adversary movements, I think is kind of tricky to do.
I
try
think
and explain to people.
A lot of stuff I tend not to play or I don't really play a lot of games on Tabletop Simulator that I don't own or that I haven't played before.
Yeah.
Because then I know what's happening. I was taught on Mars on Tabletop Simulator by the same friend who I introduced to board games. He like went off the deep end. He played Catan and Splendor and then Root, and then I gave him Gloomhaven, and then he was like, hey, let's play On Mars. And I'm like, all right, well, sure. But that was like 6 hours And
Yeah.
That's another Lacerda game.
I enjoyed it for what it was, but we had like another friend and maybe he wasn't enjoying it that much. But it's hard to back out. I don't know. There's just so many situations where digital just doesn't hold a candle to like at all, not even close.
I've taught Feudum fully twice virtually.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know, Mike, if you've played Feudum before or not.
I heard you talk about it with Bailey the last episode you posted. Yeah, is Feudum the one with that video of that rules explanation that's like 40 minutes long, and at one point you have to like put a rosary bead on a chicken or something?
Yep, that's that game.
And people are like, is this a joke or is this like an actual video?
It kind of looks like Adventure Time art, sort of.
Yeah. I adore that game so much, but teaching it in itself is a lot. I had to make a cheat sheet for it, and the cheat sheet's 11 pages long, but teaching it virtually is a fucking nightmare. And I taught it on Tabletopia, and that was even worse.
Yeah, like people already don't like, if you're introducing a new game to people, unless everyone's on the same boat, people are already going to hate the teach.
Yep.
And now you're asking people to do it like through a presentation online, like you're at work or something.
I should have just made a PowerPoint for
PowerPoint.
it.
Get a PowerPoint going for that thing.
Like even teaching, I taught like Cosmic Encounter, which isn't that hard, but it takes so long. Like there's a lot of games, which is why like me and my friends playing Gloomhaven is great, because we all already know what to expect.
Yeah.
And that's why me playing Spirit Island with my friends now is fine, because we can hop on and get a game started in like 2 minutes. We already know the drill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But getting that first step is almost impossible.
And like Tabletop Simulator, Tabletopia is probably it's difficult, but then you go to like Board Game Arena and you go, oh hell no. I like trying to teach any sort of complicated game on Board Game Arena is just a no-go. Like it's so difficult. One, your opponents can't see your cursor. So you literally have to just talk and describe everything. You can't just be like, see where my cursor is? This thing right here. This
or you have to screen share via Discord.
Is that what we played Russian Railroads on?
Yeah, we did. It's so difficult to try to teach, because you're like, okay, go down to the third railroad and now look over several things.
And it took like half an hour because like I was like, what are you clicking? What
are you looking at? It's just like,
well, I'm also such a like learner. Like I have to be like I didn't even have you guys in the same room. Yeah, it was a nightmare.
But like I'm gonna guess a lot of board gamers are the like visual side or playing learners, and to like take away an entire visual aspect of that just is not helping you at all. So,
yeah, it's not fun, the learning part.
I like it that for like the last hour we've just been kind of like shitting on like how it's not that great, but poor Mike is like, it's all I've got.
Well, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. Like if I didn't have to play an online board game again, I would not. Like there's benefits, sure, but not very many.
Yeah.
Like I can't. It's just like the setup. That's pretty much it. Like on the automation, that's it. And like even if you like, automation can be bad too. Like if in Board Game Arena you do something and then stuff starts flying around and suddenly like you've lost 3 points and you're like what's happening?
Yeah. I think this is the other benefit too. Like the setup
that makes it so much harder to learn too, right? Like it gets automated. You don't know what your opponent did. It just all happened at once, and you can't really learn from what they did. Yeah.
That I think the benefit of like setup and tear down for sure, but then also like mentioned briefly before, just having access to things that you normally wouldn't have access to try out, I think is a big benefit, especially for like all the hard to get out of print things.
Yeah, and also like testing stuff. Like I was at Aw Shucks this past weekend, and that was like two and a half full days of me playing games online, and having like the designers explain their game to me. I had to sit through a lot of teaches, but I mean, if it's all we've got, and it's like all, I guess they can, like, a lot of people can try out their game, regard. Like you don't need like a physical prototype that you can only show your friends and stuff. You're getting it out there.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple of Kickstarters, which I'm shocked.
There's a lot of Kickstarters now
that they've been doing
online.
that for Kickstarters. Like,
I mean,
it means
you're probably turning quite a few people off of buying your game by having it.
I think you're turning more people on though. I think you're. Go ahead, Keegan.
I was just gonna say it's a sign that they're confident in what they're producing. Like I'm so like avoiding Kickstarters now because I'm just like done with it. But if I see a designer like or a game go up on Kickstarter and they have an option there that says it's on TTS right now if you want to go try it out before you back it, I'm probably more inclined, if I do want to decide to back a game, I'll probably be more inclined to look at that one, because if they're confident enough with their design to put up a prototype version on TTS for you to play before that you even give them money at all, that's like some big credit to them.
Yeah, I think that's legit doing it. That like
I think
that.
So yeah, we've been talking about the negative here, but a big positive of having all these new games and stuff being able to play test online is the games themselves are just going to get better. Because you have so much more people actually testing the game, right? You bring it to such a bigger group than what you might have not been able to if it was just all physical copy, where your physical copy of playtesting is just that city that you're basically living in or whatever you can ship out. But if now you can have a bunch of people playing it, you're just going to get a lot more feedback, which just means a lot more developed games.
Yeah.
And kind of what we've been doing with Jerome, we've been like, he's invited us to come play test stuff, and I think that like him living in New Zealand, we would have never been able to do.
Jerome doesn't live in New Zealand. He lives in Belgium.
Belgium, right? That's just kidding. That's New Zealand is Shem. Yeah. But yeah, even so, Belgium, whatever. We would never have been able to like.
We're American.
Do that.
We don't have geography here.
No, I know where Belgium is. I just forgot it was Belgium, not New Zealand. What? It's by Germany.
Yeah,
okay.
no, by Germany, but so's Denmark.
It's just south of it. Okay.
Denmark's just north of it.
What? Okay. North of Denmark?
Anyway,
No.
move on. This is in geography class.
This is Jeff's. But no, as I say, we actually get to then, like, people we've been able to get to know, we actually get to now play test some of their stuff, things we would never have been able to do, which is a lot of fun.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it's a whole different world, like than what you can do physically. There's a lot more possibilities.
For sure. I'm gonna.
What?
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna add on one more point that was floating around in my head. When I'm choosing a game for like an online game night, it's hard. I mainly the stuff that we play a lot of times are stuff where everyone takes their turn at the same time. Waiting for a turn online is excruciating. You can't really chat like you could, but like other people are thinking, right? And you don't know when they're gonna chime in and be like, this is what I'm gonna do. You can't just turn to your friend at the side of the table and be like, hey, what's going on? Like
on Tuesday we played It's a Wonderful World. Is that what it is? Which you all kind of take your turns at the same time for the most part, which I thought was pretty cool. I really like that about that game. I don't know if there's a digital input. That would probably be pretty easy to be on tabletop simulator.
That's definitely on TTS.
Yeah, but that was a really fun one where you can all kind of do it at the same time. It's real easy engine builder, but I was gonna say, like, as much as I think it seems, I'm not gonna speak for every board gamer in the world, that we can all be pretty critical. We're pretty critical on things and complain about things, but I am thankful for digital implementations. I mean, not that I've been super into, but I mean, like, I'm curious what the hobby would be like if we did not have them right now. Like, would so many people just be out? Just like, oh, I was gone for a year and a half because I wasn't able to play them physically, and if we didn't have the digital implementations of them, I wonder how many people would just be out of the hobby. Like, I'm not going back to it. It's been a year and a half, 2 years, like, just because of the pandemic and stuff. I'm just curious. So I'm thankful that it is around to at least keep people who can't.
Or at least been able to keep introducing people to the hobby.
Oh, yeah, that too, yeah.
Yeah.
It's keeping me around.
I'm going to do a quick shout out to the TTS Club Discord. If you are a person who likes to virtually game, but maybe have trouble finding people to play with, join the TTS Club on Discord, because there is a whole section for looking for games or looking for group. And you can just put in what game you're wanting to play. and just say looking for these many players, and you can set up a room in the Discord channel and just play the game that you want to play, or look what anyone else is requesting to play and just hop into a game with them. So there's always people like legit throughout the day. My Discord is constantly going off because people are like, I want to play this today. Play with me. So it's super active. There's 5,000 people in the Discord channel. So
I should look into that too for games that you guys will never play with me. That I love, and that way I can sell the game and get a different game.
That way you can stop buying a bunch before you know whether or not.
I buy games and introduce you guys to great games, and you hate them, and then I have to get rid of them because I can't play them solo. It's my complaint.
Not your complaint. Well, on that note is where we will end our episode. We'll wrap up here. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for reaching out. Is there anything you got going on coming up on your social media that people can look out for, or just want to do a little plug for yourself?
Yeah, I guess I'll just do a little plug. You can find me at meeple.mike. I don't really do much on my account. I just kind of post random stuff. I open up a box of my games sometimes just because I want to look at it, because they're all collecting dust. And I'll snap some pretty photos and then throw them back in the box. It's a sad life.
But soon you're going to be online Mike, right? You're going to change your name.
No, never.
Online Meeple Mike.
Okay, well, let me finish this pretzel that I was eating.
Thanks for having me.
Who buys unsalted pretzels, everybody? Look at this guy. Unsalted pretzels.
Outed.
Thank you for outing me on my own podcast. Thank
Unsalted.
you. Thank you, Mike. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Don't forget, we are on Spotify, Google, and iTunes. If you can listen there. What?
YubTub. YouTube.
Yeah, well,
We're there too.
We're there too on YouTube, but then I want the other platforms to get a little more.
Instagram.
God damn it, I hate you so much. Check it out there. Give us a like and review. It'll help us get out to more people. And
Zanga. MySpace.
Are you done? Yes, we're on MySpace now. We just created a new MySpace.
Did you have a Zanga? Zanga was before MySpace.
Pure
No,
volume.
I'm too young.
So was I.
We're on SoundCloud. Oh, we should go on SoundCloud. Get the fuck up.
I'm derailing.
You are so. I hate you so much. Yes. Well, until next time, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.